Welcome to another episode with your chapter crush, sweetheart. This is Everblue Presents When You're Enough, a chapter crush, sweetheart series. Michel, chapter 18. Never mind your personal happiness, do your duty. Peter Drucker. News anchor. The following footage may be disturbing for some of our audience. Viewer discretion is advised. Chaos and bloodshed earlier today at the offices of GPMP Midtown when a lone gunman entered the premises and began shooting. An employee is being hailed as a hero due to his quick thinking after initially redirecting the shooter to an empty floor. By the time the shooter returned, the alarm had already risen. We were walking down the hallway when one of our coworkers ran in the reception area yelling about an active shooter. So my colleague and I ran into an office with several others, locked the door, and threw everything we could in front of it. I was sitting in my office when 4 or 5 of my coworkers ran in and locked the door, yelling about an active shooter. I thought it was a joke until they flipped my desk over to block the doors. Then we heard shooting and screaming. It was terrible. No one should have to go through that. The gunman was intercepted by SWAT officers at the scene and taken into custody. His motive unclear. From what we understand out of the latest reports, 17 people were reported injured in an office that sees upwards of 125 employees reporting every day. 11 people were taken to area hospitals with relatively minor injuries, while 2 are listed in serious yet stable condition. Police say it was the early warning from the employee and quick action that likely saved so many lives. We'll stay on this story and have more to report after this. It's just after 2 p.m. when the police interviews have concluded and Bronwyn and I are allowed to get a taxi home. I spend the ride responding to a flurry of messages from Mama, Papa, and Adrien, doing my best to convince them I'm all right. In the meantime, Bronwyn stares out to the window with a vacant expression. She sends one message, then spends the remainder of the 20-minute ride silently scrolling through documents on her phone. When I saw the assailant in the elevator, of course, several thoughts ran through my mind as my training came into play. Do I engage, despite being unarmed, and risk injury or death to Bronwyn or myself if I'm unsuccessful? What if he had a bomb? What if there were more assailants on the way? Do we flee after sending him to the wrong floor and hope that everyone else comes out unarmed? Or do we risk everything to help others and pray it's enough? The last option worked out for the best today, but it was much too close for comfort. The reason why I left my work with the police was so that I would be able to come home to my family every day. Yet Bronwyn's words earlier about my being at the right place at the right time was a powerful reminder of just how little it takes for a life to change. When we arrive home, Dorian is still out with Clara. They aren't due back for another couple of hours, which I'm grateful for. Hopefully, she will conclude the text I sent earlier, asking her to tell Dorian I love her, was nothing more than a doting father who missed his little girl. As much as I need to see my daughter and hold her in my arms. After being reassured that Bronwyn is all right, we retire to our respective rooms. Nothing is more grounding than standing under a shower, but it seems I have adrenaline to spare. After running to the market to pick up a few items for dinner, I make it home about an hour before Dorian is due back. So I begin preparing dinner as usual. As the provincial bean and tomato stew cooks, my mind whirls through the day. At the forefront is how to proceed with marrying Bronwyn. She'll likely need several days to process everything and prepare for the wedding. I hate to put off the custody request and enrolling Dorian into school, but I doubt Bronwyn will be ready. It smells delicious. Bronwyn sits her tablet on the counter, leaving a trail of lavender and berries as she walks towards the refrigerator. Her curls still wet from her shower, hanging clumps over the shoulder of an old, oversized yellow dress that I've seen her wear while cleaning on multiple occasions. My mind slips back to the quiet moments in her office before I return my focus to the stew. Thirsty? She asks, holding up a bottle of sparkling water. Yes, thanks. Pulling out a second bottle, she walks over to where I'm standing at the stove, and in an attempt to get up on the counter, she leaps backwards and fails. She smiles sheepishly when I look over. Thought I had it in me after the day we had. That draws a chuckle out of me, so covering the pot, I step in front of her. Pardon me, I say, grasping her by the waist and lifting her onto the countertop. She squeals, red color scattering across her cheeks. Playfully slapping me in the arm, she glares at me. I wasn't ready, she grumbles, opening a bottle of water and holding it out to me. Smirking, I accept it. Thanks. And what's to be ready for? I'm the one who did the heavy lifting. She rolls her eyes, but it does nothing to hide the smile spreading on her face. I'm not that heavy, she mutters. Drinking half the bottle at once, I eye her the whole time. She's trying to appear nonchalant, but there's an edginess about her. What's up? I ask, easily slipping into French as I pick up my knife. Bronwyn shuffles the bottle between our hands. I have the application for the marriage license pulled up. After submitting it, we can make the appointment to finish the process at the county clerk's office and get an appointment to be married. I pause in slicing the cucumber to look at her. Are you all right with doing this so soon? I am, she nods. I never imagined eloping, but then again, I never imagined marrying without love either. Her face is scrubbed clean of the light makeup she usually wears to work, leaving her with a youthful appearance. She's beautiful, and I don't doubt she always will be. Yet by asking her to do this, I'm asking her to give up possibly years of her life, and in exchange for what? Staring down at the ribbons of cucumber in front of me, guilt wells up in my stomach. You don't have to do this, Bronwyn. I'm not sure what I would do, but this isn't your responsibility. I know I don't, she huffs, but then her eyes soften. I know I don't have to, but I get to do it for Dorian. I want to. I narrow my eyes as I look at her in earnest. There isn't an ounce of deceit on her face or in her body language. She's completely genuine, and that increases my fondness for her. After retrieving the required documents, she works on filling out and submitting the application while I finish up dinner. Since we're able to get an appointment for tomorrow to obtain the license, we make the appointment to be married on Monday. My mind is whirling with the things I'll need to do before then, such as getting the prenuptial agreement drawn up, contacting our witnesses, speaking to my lawyer, and beginning the process of obtaining sole custody of Lorianne. When I look up, Bronwyn is staring into the distance, and I realize how daunting this could be for her. I can't guarantee the amount of time it will take, Winnie. I don't know how long Yvette will contest my request, if she will contest it at all, but I want you to know this is important to me, so we will work as swiftly as possible to try to accomplish it within the year. Her dark eyes are unreadable, but they are locked on my face as she slowly nods. I understand, and I'm really okay with it. Dory, she deserves love, and to know that she's wanted. I'm happy to be part of the process that gives her that. Something settles in my chest as I stare back at her, and seeing the resolve in her eyes, I nod. Thank you, not just for being willing to do it, but for everything. Your kindness and warmth towards her. When Dory is with me and my family at home, she's always so joyful. I was afraid she'd lost it when I first saw her last month. Bronwyn's eyes soften in empathy as she nods in understanding. I've seen much of it return in the time she spent here, but especially when she's around you. I continue. You seem to bring that joy out in her, and I know it's selfish of me, but I love that for her. Putting my spoon down, I move to stand in front of her. I just want you to know I appreciate you, and I frown as I organize my thoughts. I know I can't be the husband you're looking for, but I can promise to be your friend. Whatever you need while we're married. If I can help you with anything, I will. When I look up, Bronwyn is thoughtfully considering me when she abruptly says, I know Dory is your daughter, so I'll leave all decisions about her life to you. I just hope that if I have a suggestion, you'll take it under consideration. Scanning her face, I see that she's serious. That's it. That's all you expect from me. Her laugh is unexpected, and her coffee eyes sparkle as she says, if you asked me a month ago, I would have a laundry list of things I'd ask for. But after getting to know you, I think as long as you let me love Dory, that will be enough for me. Her stomach rumbles so loudly it startles both of us, causing me to laugh. It seems your stomach disagrees. It also requests to be included in the agreement. Her rich laugh fills the kitchen as she shrugs. You're so right. Chuckling, I scoop a bit of cucumber salad on a spoon and hold it up to her mouth. Here, an appetizer. She looks at me in surprise, but takes a bite, her face melting into an expression of rapture as she groans in appreciation. Oh, that is so good. I think I have a new favorite. I swallow the urge to ask her to stop doing that as I cross to the sink. You say that about everything you eat. I do, don't I? She giggles. At least when you make it. But that doesn't make it any less true. By the time my little koala returns from her afternoon at the park with Clara, our plan is in place and we settle in for a quiet dinner. We receive a company email that we have the day off tomorrow, and as of next week, we'll be working from home indefinitely. There's also a status update on our injured coworkers. I'm surprised to see Jimmy's name on the list, but I'm more surprised to see Ben's name. Knocking on Bronwyn's door after putting Dorian to bed. When she calls for me to come in, I stick my head inside. She's bundled under our blankets, a notebook and several different colored pens and markers spread out on her lap. Glancing up from where she's coloring something in, I try not to smile at the bright blue bonnet she has secured at the top of her head with a bow. You look like a little grandmother, I smile. She rolls her eyes, but she's fighting not to smile. Wrong. I'm the big bad wolf. What can I do for you, Red Riding Hood? Chuckling, I step in a bit further. I just saw the injured list from the company email. In the morning, I'm going to the hospital to see Ben. I plan to ask him to be my witness for our ceremony, but not if he's too badly injured. I plan to look at the list tomorrow. Her eyes grow bigger by the second as she begins tapping away on her phone. Well, I resist the urge to say, "What big eyes you have." He's stable, and Sam's okay. She's still at the hospital with him. She taps out another message and looks up at me. How do you know Ben anyway? It was a previous acquaintance related to my work. We kept in touch over the years, occasionally meeting up when he visited France. When I happened to be looking for a corporate job, I reached out to him a little over a year ago. Next thing I knew, I was working at GPMP as senior counsel. Bronwyn raises her brows as her mouth films an ooh. Is he also the reason we have no foreign in-house counsel this year? No. But he is the reason you're my roommate. He put me in contact with Sam. She raises her brows with a little laugh. I see. You must have done him a huge favor to get him to ask Sam for help. I shrug, unwilling to go into the details of the case that brought me in contact with Ben nearly a decade ago. He's a good friend, which is why I plan to see him tomorrow. I think I'll go with you to the hospital if that's okay. I plan to ask Sam to be my witness anyway. I nod. I've already messaged Clara. Apparently, she has been looking for another part-time job since Yvette told her last week that she'll no longer need her services. If you're okay with her being here, I think I would like to hire her for half days, especially with both of us working from home. Agreeing that would be for the best, I turn in for the evening. After reading for an hour, I've just put down my tattered copy of The Old Man and the Sea and turned off my light when a thought occurs to me. In the passage I just read, Santiago is thinking about his circumstances and why he should continue despite how things look. That's when he says, now is no time to think of what you do not have. Think of what you can do with what there is. I don't know what was going on in Hemingway's life when he wrote it, but it's quite profound. I like to think things may not always turn out the best way, but there's always a silver lining. Perhaps Hemingway's thought is true of this time in my life also. True, I'm going into a fight with my ex-wife that, knowing Yvette, is sure to be bitter. And if her boyfriend decides to throw his money at it, it could drag on for years. But in the meantime, I'll have Dory, who will be able to grow in a happy home. Then there's Bronwyn. I yawn as I think about the woman who's about to become my wife, even if in name only. I didn't come here to make friends, and I certainly didn't expect to find one in a woman, no less in Bronwyn, who tried to kick me out as soon as she met me. Yet she has quickly shown herself to be warm, dependable, and kind. I have no doubt she will give Dory her best. Still, I wonder what happens if this case is still going in August. Do I stay here with her as the battle continues? Does she move to France? I yawn again. I should buy rings. My eyes drift closed. At the very least, Bronwyn deserves that. I didn't think you'd be this nervous since you've done this before. Ben mutters, easily slipping into French as we walk into the grey and white room where the judge waits with our clerk. My brows lift in response as I murmur, yes, well. You saw how well that went. Ben has known me long enough to tell when I'm slipping back into old memories. What's more, he knows exactly what and of whom those memories drift to, having talked me off a ledge plenty of times over the years. Despite trying to convince me Bronwyn could find another witness and he should rest, he scoffed it was finally his turn and no bullet would stop it from happening. The man still holds a grudge that I chose Adrien as my best man at my last wedding. According to him, this is my redemption arc, and is too apparently. This is no comparison, my friend. He now murmurs. I've known Bronwyn for 5 years already. She's an incredible woman, dedicated, hard-working. Why is she marrying you again? I scowl as he chuckles, adjusting the slings supporting his left arm. He was shot in the shoulder while covering Sam. When the bell operator, frustrated he couldn't find anyone, began randomly firing into offices, the officers fired, attempting to take the suspect down. I imagine it was one of their bullets that got Ben. I regard him flatly. Are the meds kicking in? And if you're so interested in my wife, why hasn't she been promoted? A dark look clouds over Ben's face. You don't waste your generals at the front lines of losing battles, my friend, he says cryptically. My brows slam down as the doors open and Sam enters, holding Dorian's hand, followed by Bronwyn. What are you talking about? He winks, before the blank expression he reserves for the office slips back into place. Just remember, you owe me, my friend, and the time for repayment is quickly approaching. Yeah, I mutter. And when are you going to do something about Sam? Ben's stone-cold look might freeze another man, but I know beneath the frozen forest green depths beats the warm heart of a man who just wants to be free to live and love. I'm working on it, he grits out. Now why don't you try smiling for your bride instead of worrying about mine? But my mind has already muted him as I watched Bronwyn approach. I'm positive I gave more thought to shining my shoes than imagining what either of us would wear. I simply pulled out my charcoal pinstripe suit and paired it with a black and white fleur-de-lis pattern tie and pocket square, never wondering if there was a color Bronwyn would prefer. So I was a little surprised when I came out of my room after breakfast to find Dorian sitting primly on the living room sofa. She was dressed in a buttery yellow ruffled dress, white cardigan and knee socks, blonde locks pinned away from her face with a flower. "Oh, is this pretty little girl?" I cried, to which she jumped up to spin around. "Look, Papa!" Dorian beamed as her dress ballooned around her. "Wow!" I exclaimed as I clapped. "You're so pretty. Did your mother buy you this dress?" She shook her head, still beaming. "No, Miss Brownie got me this dress and really pretty shoes. And she said after today, we'll be friends forever. I'm so happy, Papa." I frowned. I didn't think about what my daughter would call Bronwyn, but I'm not sure Miss Brownie fits anymore. Crossing to her, I knelt down and wrapped an arm around her. She's right. After today, we will all be friends together, but she and I will also be married. Do you know what that means? Dorian slowly nodded, her eyes wide. It means that you love each other forever, and you sleep in the same bed, and you play together all the time. I tried to keep my face straight, but I really wanted to know where she got this definition from. That's true. That's what it means to be married. So I'm thinking we should think about what to call Miss Brownie, because she will be your friend and your stepmother. Dorian frowned. What is a stepmother? Why am I always so unprepared for these questions? You know how your mom gave birth to you, so she became your mother? Well, when I marry Bronwyn, she will also be like a mother to you, but she doesn't replace your mom. Bronwyn will be like your bonus mother. What's a bonus? Her little face scrunched as she focused. I pursed my lips. A bonus is like a present. It's something you don't expect because it's more than what you had before. Like when you get a toy with your food. Oh, she exclaimed excitedly. Like a gift. Why didn't I think of that? That's exactly right, I smiled. Her sparkling eyes slid past me and lit with excitement. Wow, you're so beautiful gift, Mama. I slapped a hand to my forehead. Sorry, I was trying to explain. My words died on my lips as I turned to see Bronwyn standing under the arch of the living room entryway. A delicate pair of white satin heels with bows across the instep graced her feet. As I slowly stood, my eyes took in the bare, trim ankles and calves that disappeared under the flared satin skirt of her dress. Tiny satin buttons marched from the sash that cinched her waist up towards the scalloped edges of the modest V-neck on the short-sleeved lace bodice. Her dark curls were twisted away from her face and pinned up in an artful chignon at the nape of her neck. Her veil, a simple piece of material held in place with a pearl and gold brooch pinned in her hair above her ear, only covered the crown of her head and half her face. But what a face! Her makeup was soft and natural-looking, long dark lashes framing her dark eyes, rosy lips, and the barest hint of blush, pearl earrings, a pearl cuff bracelet, and her grandmother's gold locket resting in the V neckline of her dress completed the look. She was stunning, and I don't know how long I stared at her, my heart beating in my throat. It was only when she looked down, her fingers tangling in the chain of her lockets, that I managed to breathe. Oh, you look, incredible, I stammered. I think Dory already said that. She grinned, momentarily dazing me. Yes, of course. Well, she's right. You are gorgeous. I'm not sure, but I think she blushed across her cheeks as she shyly dipped her chin. I think it's the birdcage veil. It's giving the illusion of mystery, but I'm still me under here. Crossing the room, I stood in front of her before I knew I moved. Taking her small hand in mine, I tried to smile reassuringly, but I was honestly completely thrown off by my reaction. Yes, well, you under there is still a very beautiful woman. Dropping a kiss on her hand, I looked up as her breath caught and dropped her hand with an unexpected zing burst between us. A solid thwack. The back of my legs had us both bubbling towards each other as we looked down to see Dorian, her arms locked around both of our legs. Her little face beamed up at us as she exclaimed, "You're both beautiful. Kiss Mama and Papa." "Thank you," Bronwyn smiled, although her eyes were puzzled when she glanced at me. "I'll explain later." I chuckled as I picked up Dorian, grateful for the moment to clear my head. Now, as I watched Bronwyn glide over to stand beside me in front of the judge, I noticed her elegance and how she holds herself in a dignified manner. How did I not notice that she's so attractive? Or have I noticed and pretended not to? A nervous ball of excitement flutters in my stomach and I promptly squash it. Obviously, I can't afford to catch, find, or discover feelings. Bronwyn already has enough on her plate without worrying about her perfectly platonic husband changing the rules as soon as vows are exchanged. Instead of looking at her for the 40th time since the judge has begun her speech, I look at the walls, at the beautiful bouquet of cream, yellow, and deep purple flowers Bronwyn is tightly clutching. Anywhere else, still, my eyes continue sliding to her face. When the judge asks about rings, I couldn't be more relieved to have something to do. Ben steps forward to hand off the bands, but he can't seem to keep his eyes off of Sam and her deep purple, asymmetric, off-the-shoulder dress. Rings, I mutter, which gets his attention enough to drop them in the vicinity of my hands. Thanks so much for that, Ben. He nervously clears his throat. Anytime, my friend. I slide the gold band on Bronwyn's finger, watching as she sees the scrolled leaves and diamond-studded flowers for the first time. When a soft smile spreads across her face, something warm blooms in my chest. I didn't realize I was worried she wouldn't like it until that moment. Yvette told me she hadn't liked her ring, and that was the reason why she never wore it. Now I know why she refused to let me replace it, but at the time, it had saddened me. All thoughts of Yvette flee my mind as Bronwyn slides the cool metal of the gold band on my finger. The outside is plain, but the inside is engraved with the same floral leaf pattern of Bronwyn's ring. I flex my hand, reminding myself this time isn't the same as the last. Before, I was the poor fool who thought he was so in love that he should rush to marry his new fiancée when she insisted marrying within 2 weeks was perfectly fine. Now, I'm a man who knows exactly who he's marrying and why. I like Bronwyn, what I know of her at least, but I'm not in love with her, and I know she isn't in love with me. I'm not going into this with delusions of cozy weekends spent gardening, cooking, and nuzzling away the cool evenings. Instead, we're friends. We have a mutual respect for each other, and we both love my daughter. And that's enough for me. Man and wife, you may kiss the bride. My mouth dries as I look at the judge, dumbfounded, as she smirks and says, "Yeah, you." "Oh, right. I can do this. We've kissed before. Twice. It was all adrenaline and relief. We can certainly do this once more." I look down into Bronwyn's bright eyes as she laughs at me, and I smile in return. From the way her laugh is starting to repeat, I can tell she is truly amused by my bewilderment. "Ah, it's funny, is it?" I wrap a hand around her waist and pull her close, only intending to tease her a bit when I dip there. But the smell of lavender and berries goes straight to my head, and when her eyes go wide and her lips part when she gasps, well, I forget what I was thinking as I brush my lips across hers. Once, twice. The kiss is sweet and gentle, just like the woman in my arms. I pull her closer, yet my eyes fly open at the sound she makes at the back of her throat. Pulling her up, I realized the sound of birds flapping their wings is actually our small group of smiling onlookers clapping in congratulations. And the sound of drums, well, that's just my heart in my ears. I make the mistake of looking down at Bronwyn as she's running her tongue along her bottom lip, a dazed expression on her face, and immediately my eyes dart away. Zood. What have I done?